name's Bond. James Bond.
Hello and welcome. You're listening to Bond vs. Godzilla, the podcast that compares and contrasts two of the longest-running film series in cinema history. My name is Cruz Moore, and I will be your resident Godzilla expert on this show. Joining me on this cinematic journey for however long it lasts are three of my very good friends who each have their own history and experience with both film franchises. Bond expert Jacob Roberts.
My name is Jacob Roberts, and I have too many free radicals.
Audio engineer Willie Crook.
Hi, my name is Willie Crook, and I've been censored by Sony.
And digital artist Chas Lemons.
I'm Charles Summons, and my greatest weakness are rainbow lasers reflected back at me.
On today's episode, we'll be tackling Never Say Never Again from 1983 and Godzilla vs. MechaGodzilla from 1974. So without further ado, Jake, give us a backstory on never watching this again.
A quick recap as to how we got here. Ian Fleming teamed up with director Kevin McClory and screenwriter Jack Whittingham to produce an original screenplay that would serve as the first James Bond motion picture. However, the project fell through. Fleming used the general plot of the script to write his newest James Bond novel, Thunderball, which went on to become the fourth James Bond movie. McClory fought several long and lengthy lawsuits against Fleming, which resulted in a decline in Fleming's health and was a contributing factor in his eventual death. The lawsuits were settled out of court. McClory was given the literary and film rights to the screenplay and was made executive producer on the Thunderball movie. A connected lawsuit against Eon Productions also ended in McClory's favor, as he now owned the rights to all of the characters introduced in the original screenplay, including Blofeld and Spectre. With nothing in his way, McClory set out to remake Thunderball to compete directly with Eon Productions' financial juggernaut. This is the result. Never Say Never Again honors the franchise, but is spiteful in its delivery. Its key defining feature is that it managed to bring Sean Connery back into the role of 007 for the first time since Diamonds Are Forever. Connery did consult on an early draft of the script, but at the time, there was no serious thought of him actually playing the role. It was only when Jack Schwartzman was brought in as producer that Connery was officially asked, signing to the tune of $3 million plus a percentage of the profits. The name of the film was inspired by Sean Connery's wife, in response to his old declaration that he would never play James Bond again. Never Say Never Again remains one of the most interesting aspects of Bond's history, and certainly more often remembered than Casino 67, for better or for worse. The history of this film plays out much like its own little Cold War. Just as the USSR attempted to push against the economic giant that was the USA with arms and space races, so did McClory try to prove his own cinematic superiority by hiring the most famous Bond actor who infamously had bad blood with Cubby Broccoli, and even going so far as to pit Never Say Never Again directly against the next official Bond film, Octopussy. And while the film was a great financial success thanks to the draw that was Connery, it still failed to match the numbers of the official series, proving once and for all that it takes more than a recognizable name to make 007.
I only have one question for you, Jake.
Oh, okay.
Why?
Because Kevin McClory.
Spite.
Why did you put us through this?
Spite and money. Okay, to be fair,
What do I owe you, Jake?
to be fair, watching the unofficial films was entirely Cruz's idea.
It was necessary to match the numbers. Little did I know. Well, that's the funny thing. I love 67 Casino Royale.
Right.
It's so much better than this movie.
Right.
I did not expect this to be this bad. And in the same vein that Chaz and I felt while watching Matrix Resurrections, I've never been bored during a Bond movie. Until now.
It's nearly 3 hours of very little happening. It's a lot of shots of just people walking or staring at each other and nothing ever happening.
Yeah. Maybe if you're lucky, you're about to stumble into a scene of Cruella de Ferret about to try and kill Bond, but that feels further apart the more you watch it.
Yeah, the more I the more I just think of this movie and how
It's really not. I'm gonna make a Bond movie. I'm gonna show those guys that I can make a better Thunderball than the one that they made
With
because I
blackjack
fucking hate them
and
and they're
hookers.
assholes. Exactly. It's literally that.
With video games and ferret coats.
This movie exists, as Jake said, because of spite.
It wants to take itself seriously and be a serious Bond film, but it's also riddled with all of these tongue-in-cheek, bordering on satire parody elements that just don't mesh together well.
Like I feel like one of them is like stretching out like the typical tropes of like Bond like sneaking into a place, or like they try to insert awkward silences like almost as humor to like not ruin the seriousness, but it just goes the opposite of both ways, and it makes the movie less funny, and it just makes it more boring.
And not to mention some progression of the story choices, like the one that made all of us just go, "What the fuck are you doing?" When Bond and Felix get shot out of a sub's missile silo in a missile, and the missiles open in midair, and to reveal Bond and Felix. And they're in like these jetpacks, and they go onto land that's like
30 feet
40,
away.
30 yards away.
They boarded a submarine. Got inside of a missile tube with these special little kitschy gadgets that are just like the hovercrafts of Metal Gear Solid 3.
That are somehow still not as cool as the jetpack from the original Thunderball.
Oh, absolutely nowhere near as cool.
And then after
look
they
horrible.
land these jetpacks on land, they get into their diving suits and dive under the water.
So to sum it up in 10 seconds, it's submarine to jetpack to scuba diving.
Yep.
I could see them thinking like, okay, we're gonna have the best goddamn gadget scene ever. It's gonna be the shit. They're gonna get fired out of a missile tube, and they're gonna go on a helicopter. And wait, how much space do we have to work with? 40 feet.
I don't want to see Sean Connery hang out in like an old folks home for the first 30 minutes.
I mean, like maybe if he's like has to defend himself with a carrot, that's one thing. But there is not that good a fight scene in this movie.
So
not Clive
was this Bond film like an aging 007, like a future?
I mean,
Yeah, no,
just
it's-
look at Sean.
The way the narrative frames it is that he is supposed to be an older James Bond. He is kind of getting on in years. Bond complains like, I've been teaching more than I've been doing, and
But there was also the line of bring back the 00s.
yeah, because there was a line towards the beginning where Bond says like, you have been having less and less reason to use the 00s, like the kind of framed it that the 00 section was kind of being, phased out little by little, kind of. I think it was trying to tap into the themes that would be central to Skyfall much later beyond, of the times leaving the old ways behind. I think that's what they were trying to tap into, but they got a little too hung up in making fun of free radicals and new wave hippie diets. I think they got a little too caught up in that.
Well, I mean, it does turn out that making fun of that stuff didn't get old because people still push that shit.
Yeah, we still got goop. As horrible as this movie is, there are a couple of things that I think it does right. It misses far more than it hits.
Yeah.
But I still like to give credit where credit is due.
Yeah.
And I think that one of the things that this film actually does a pretty good job at is visual gags. This film, I feel, actually has a number of decent visual gags that do generally get a chuckle out of me.
I mean, I'm part of me really doesn't want to talk about this movie because it's just so
Yeah, like you haven't
uninspired.
said like
I
anything
know.
in a
I
while.
just, this movie didn't have a James Bond will return and thing, did it?
No, it didn't.
Good.
Not for a lack of trying, though. McClory had expected this film to kick off a new series of Bond films starring Sean Connery so he can continue to compete against Eon. This was going to be the first of many. The next film he had planned was going to be titled Spectre.
That
But
explains. So much.
but Sean said no, with crushing McClory's dreams of world domination.
How could
In the 90s, McClory tried to remake Thunderball again this time starring Timothy Dalton.
Oh my god.
That didn't work. He did end up selling his film rights to Sony, who at the time held the exclusive rights to Casino Royale. But litigations ended up stripping Sony of the property, which landed into the laps of MGM. Even after all of that, McClory still tried to fight against Eon Productions, but at this point he no longer had any legal ground to stand on, and so the courts just dismissed all of his cases. McClory ultimately died in 2006, the same year that Eon Productions' Casino Royale would be released. The Thunderball intellectual property then landed into the hands of McClory's heirs, who just sold the rights to MGM without a fuss. And thus, that's how we got Blofeld and Spectre finally being allowed to appear in the movies again. At the end of the day, ironically, MGM did buy the rights to Never Say Never Again in 1997, so now all of the Bond films exist under the same umbrella, which, as of a few days ago of recording this, that umbrella is now Amazon. Okay.
This hurts me, Jake. Because just a couple weeks ago, I was messaging Jake going like, man, I really want to watch another Bond film because it's been a really fun experience seeing...
It hurt me on the inside that this was the film that we got stuck 2 months on.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, oh my god, hype is building for this. Hype is building for this.
I
no.
wasn't getting hyped for it, but it was just like...
But you were hyped to watch another Bond film. You wanted to get back into it.
He was hyped to do another episode of the podcast.
Yeah, it was just a sucker punch right to the balls.
Yeah, we gotta wash this one out.
Especially as I'm taking these trips and I'm finding Bond-related stuff in LA, and I'm like, oh, I actually have context for all these things now.
I do like the villain. I do actually like this interpretation of Largo, Maximilian Largo. There's just something about Largo being interpreted as just like a preppy, posh yacht club member that just kind of works for me. I still prefer the original, eye patch Adolfo Celli Largo, but there's just something about Never Say Never Again's Largo that is like, there's just something just creepily douchey about this guy that I just love. Klaus Maria Brandauer, who played Largo, as well as Fatima Blush. You could tell that they were doing their best with the material that they were given, and you could tell that they were having fun with it, at least as much as possible. Especially Fatima Blush, who is like,
Is that Cruella de Ferret?
Yeah, that's Cruella de Ferret. I've always flip-flopped with how much I like that character, because the character is absolutely stupid, completely nonsensical. Narratively speaking, she makes no sense. But goddamn it, she isn't having the time of her life. Every time, she never walks anywhere. She dances. Whenever she needs to move from point A to point B, she dances. And she's just always so over the top that it's just, you go, you.
Like I don't know why my brain is making this connection. Emily Blunt keeps coming to mind.
That's not an unfair comparison, I think. I do see a little bit of Emily Bluntishness in her performance.
Like, I don't know why. Because the only ones that the only movies I can really think of that I've seen her in that I know off the top of my head are the My Little Pony movie and Mary Poppins Returns.
That tells you right there everything you need to know about Willie.
Yep.
Thank you, Cruz, for shooting me that very appropriate look.
See, I think the reason why Chaz and I don't care for this villain is that we've known douchebags like that in real life, and that's all we can see.
Like, the most I could say about him is that he is fun to hate, but also I still hate him.
He's just like this skeezing idiot, like spying on his girlfriend through a two-way mirror doing aerobics. Like,
that is to say, I mean,
kidding.
Looking back, like at this film, I think this is the creepiest Bond film, and that's saying something. That this is the creepiest, sleaziest, dirtiest feeling Bond film. Like the amount of time that is spent just secretly watching scantily clad women with protruding nipples.
Yeah,
The scene where Bond pretends to be a masseuse.
Oh,
it's just, you feel dirty.
Mm-hmm.
This movie was not fun to work on, probably even less fun than it is to watch. Many members of the cast and crew, including the director, Irvin Kershner, were all very critical of Jack Schwartzman, who was kind of a businessman more than a filmmaker. Sean Connery even went on record he called the production a bloody Mickey Mouse operation. Those were Connery's words.
Wow.
Connery actually had to step in to take over certain production duties just to keep the ball rolling.
Oh, God.
At one point, the film ran out of money, and Schwartzman had to fund the rest out of pocket. Steven Seagal served as the film's martial arts instructor. While training Connery, he accidentally broke Sean Connery's wrist.
Of course he did. That's a
course he
mark
did.
against that.
And-
Both of those are a mark against this movie.
And Connery never realized his wrist was broken until over a decade later. Several Bond series regulars, like screenwriter Richard Maybaum and composer John Barry, the director Peter Hunt, several of them were asked to take part in the film as well, but they all refused out of loyalty to Eon. The underwater scenes were filmed by Rico Browning, who did the underwater camera work for the original Thunderball.
Please explain why we have such a tension-filled scene all based around playing a video game that none of us understood.
Because it was
God, I
the
forgot about
80s. It was the 80s. Atari.
This segment brought to you by Centipede.
Yeah,
It was-
Atari footed some money towards them. Apparently, the only Atari arcade game they had access to was Centipede. Hey, it's the 80s. What's popular right now? Arcades. Let's put Bond in an arcade death match and have it go on for like an hour.
Oh, we'll make it intercontinental ballistic themed. That'll be cool, huh? Won't nobody really get the game?
they-
Nobody gets video games anyway. It's the
They
80s.
take time to explain to you all of the dumb rules of this video game. We still don't know how to play Baccarat, but good thing we explained that
to no avail.
to know that.
Yeah.
The scene still doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's like they take the time to explain the rules only after Sean has broken them two times in a row because he wasn't told about them before. So there's like 4 matches that happen.
I'm not even sure the people who were animating the game like on the fake screen
Knew what
the
they were
rules
animating?
They were just like just throwing blue and red. It's everyone will get it. It's the Cold War.
It's pretty telling that before I did the rewatch coming up for the podcast, the last time I saw this movie was probably well over 10 years ago, at least. And honestly, the only thing I really remembered about the movie, thinking back to it, was killer video game. Here's a perfect point of reference for how much this movie doesn't work. When you have this big old long high-tech laser shooting video game sequence, and it is more boring than a game of golf.
It's more
Yeah.
Because the
God.
golf scene in Goldfinger is legitimately tense and perfectly well written and is so good. And it's golf. And you compare that to a video game, and the video game is more boring.
I almost would have rather watched them play Centipede against each other.
Right?
Yeah, because that has like
Concrete rules, and you know what's going
rules
on, and you
that
know
we
who's winning.
understand. I mean, you had so many. You had an infinite amount of Centipede.
Every centipede cabinet on the planet at your exposure.
And you play some no-name game made by some no-name developer.
Knockoff battleships.
Yep.
2 guys holding these metal rods that we as the audience don't have any feedback towards. They're telling us that, it causes pain through electricity. We have no point of reference for that pain. So it's just 2 guys standing there staring at this nothing, because it was all created in post, just trying to create the closest facsimile to painted grimaces on their face that they can. And that's that for like 10, 15 minutes.
It feels so silly that it's impossible to like have any of the attention imparted on you.
I think the absolute rotten cherry on top of the melted sundae of that scene
Oh God,
is
that's
right
a beautiful analogy.
is right afterwards. After the game is played, Domino Patachi approaches Bond and says, "He's never gone that far before."
Yeah, exactly. Like, okay.
It's like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
He's never gone that far before.
You didn't ask for Thunderball. You asked for Blunderball.
This movie better.
Much better.
I just realized it has that same feeling I had when I watched The Amazing Spider-Man. It's like, oh, I've already seen this.
Yeah, that definitely doesn't help.
I don't know. I wish that they had that through their head, despite having Sean Connery. It's like, wait, no, they've done Thunderball before. We've seen missiles get stolen. This is the same threat and conflict. There's no difference here.
No, this is different because it has a guy who had his eyeball replaced with the president's eyeball.
And they waited until the missiles were test fired until they stole them.
My job won't be done until I remind you of every bad decision in this movie.
Yeah.
He had
It's
a
like-
perfect replica of the president's eyeball. Oh, that's stupid, Bond. Don't be absurd. And that just never gets readdressed.
You see, that's the kind of thing where I was saying about earlier, where this movie felt like it wanted to play it straight and take itself seriously, but it intermingled itself with pot shots at Bond tropes. It's like, okay, so do you want us
While
to...
doing them.
Yeah, do you want us to laugh at the president eyeball, or do you want us to take it seriously? I'm very confused. Which one do you want?
Just like Resurrections. One more example of how this film it tries to do what the other Bond films do without understanding why they're doing it is when Cruella de Ferret throws a snake into this guy's car in order for him to crash, and then when it crashes, she just blows it up, and it's like, why didn't you just blow it up to begin with?
Yeah.
She could have easily just thrown the bomb, braked, and then just
Yeah.
set it off.
It's like, here, my lovely snake. I'm going to throw you in the car. Oh,
then blow it up.
the snake's going to bite him and kill him behind the wheel. Interesting.
no,
No,
snake
it
just
doesn't even
scares
do
him.
that. It just spooks him and he gets in a
it
crash.
spooks them. You could have like
Okay.
Okay, like if-
and then she gets the snake back, and she's like, "Oh, I'm
Like-
so sorry," and then it never comes back.
Like
Yeah,
if
the
they wanted
snake
to
never
make,
comes back.
like if they wanted to make a joke, they should have had it so the car crashed and then the snake flies through the window and then it's like the tragedy of the snake not wearing a seatbelt or something like that.
They go through a trouble of like establishing this thing with Fatima and the snake, and like kind of like, okay, so the snake's going to be like a recurring thing with her. That's going to be like her gimmick, but it
Nope.
never comes up again, despite all that effort to see showing how much she loves the snake. You never see the snake again. Apparently, got replaced with remote controlled sharks.
And she just turned the fucker into a belt.
a
Let's face it.
snake that I don't think boa constrictors are venomous, are they?
No, it was a non-venomous
Yeah,
snake.
so
And its little
it's just
purpose
gonna
was just
chill
to
on
scare
you.
the
Yeah,
guy.
that's what they do. They constrict.
Like what was her plan if the guy says, "Oh, there's suddenly a snake in my car. Let me just calmly park and deal with that."
Man, what if the guy loves snake? He's just like, oh
Thanks
my
for
god,
the free snake.
what a
I'm going to name you George and love you and squeeze you.
beautiful African boa. Thank you, Fatma. Thank you.
See, I try to pride myself on going like, yeah, I have a really great memory for movies. I don't understand the people who forget them in a day. But I've been suffering from food poisoning the past 3 days, which makes me realize, yeah, I have just expunged this fucking movie from my brain.
Like you
Same.
should.
Same.
This movie deserves it.
Yeah.
It's enough of a segue for me to finish off the segment with what Amazon did announce a couple of days ago with what they're going to do with their newly acquired rights to Bond.
Bond
Are they
Academy.
gonna Lord of the Rings it.
No,
No, they're bringing back James Bond Jr.
I wish.
In live action.
In live action.
I wish.
It'll be the new Spy Kids.
They're gonna cast Steve Buscemi as James Bond Jr.
Stop making me want things.
So Q, what is it up to? What's up today?
So what they're
Are your gadgets on fleek today, Q? Are they lit?
How am I going to make the bad guy eat today?
Now on Paramount Plus.
So what it's going to be is it's actually going to be a unscripted reality show.
What?
It is called
Sorry, I gotta clean out my ears. What?
it's going to be called James Bond Race to a Million, I think. And it's essentially from what they describe it's essentially going to be Bond flavored The Amazing Race.
Fucking hate the movie.
Teams of people are going to go to, I think, either Bond filming locations around the world, or at least whatever the hell they can afford, and they're going to compete in different challenges or whatever at this location
cares?
to try to win $1 million.
See, the thing is,
That's why
this would be hilarious if it was like filmed in Asia and then dubbed in English.
like a Japanese game show.
Yes. If they took that approach to it, It would be fucking hilarious.
If the approach was it's a Japanese game show, but there's always like a set of James Bonds trying to infiltrate it, maybe that would work. And they have to like play it cool while they like have to figure out if this picture frame is made out of chocolate or if it's real wood.
Yeah.
Featuring a bunch.
Is this a real bomb or a fake bomb? Let's press the detonate button and see what happens.
With like the climactic music like da 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 da.
Can we talk about a good movie now?
Never say never, whatever you do. Never say never, my friend. Oh, tais-toi! If you believe that your dreams will come true, they'll come true in the end. Keep up your courage, don't ever despair. Take heart and then count to 10. Hope for the best, work for the rest, and never say never again.
Oh, but it's impossible. I'll never find my family.
Never say never.
This is what peak masculinity looks like.
I was only
Thanks,
able
Dusty Cat.
I was only able to get.
That worked.
Oh my god, you actually did it. Why?
I didn't realize that that's what you meant, you sick fuck. He's dipping the goddamn chocolate straw into a bottle of Coke and trying to drink through the straw.
Trying, I'm succeeding.
Experience the flavor and gooiness. Experience the flavor and gooiness of a freshly baked sweet potato with this sweet and chewy snack.
Okay, Willie, are we sure this isn't a dumpling filling like that fucking bean paste?
It just says that it's supposed to taste like a sweet potato.
This is a dumpling filling.
Is it?
It has the literally.
It doesn't say it's
No, literally, it has the exact down to the fucking. I just spat on the pop filter. Goddamn it! Down to the fucking micron consistency of that fucking Korean bean paste.
I don't like sweet potatoes, so.
Yeah, because you're supposed to put it in a dumpling that you dump in soy sauce. That's why.
This podcast brought to you by Bean Paste.
Now listen here, Sparky. Here's what you have to do.
Here, Sparky.
Gotta be a straight shooter.
Dig.
What's that from?
Aladdin.
AKA a better movie than Thief and the Cobbler.
That's like just your opinion, man.
No, it's fact.
That's what the money's for.
Well, that's what the money's supposed to do, but didn't quite do it.
I'm sorry, which one lives on in the cultural zeitgeist?
Because Disney was
Which one has a theme park ride?
Maybe because Disney was able to just shit out $28 million when Richard Williams had to work his incredibly more talented ass off just to get the same movie out. Boo-hoo! Aladdin isn't as highly regarded as an unfinished movie.
Yep.
Yeah, because it's not.
Because people get shit done, and Richard Williams doesn't.
He got fucking ads done while he was making that movie.
Yeah, that's his problem.
And he had a band named the Dick Six. I would like to see you do better, mein Fruins.
I have done better. It was a band called Juicebox 2000, and we never made any music.
Do not bring up Aladdin in front of me. God damn it.
Well, Aladdin's great. It's amazing. I love it.
Yeah, but it's the kind of movie that like I saw it again and it's just like, wow, this captivated me way more when I was a child. And I suppose it's just gonna stay that way.
Yeah,
I was able to enjoy it
and
more
now you're
as
all
an adult.
spiteful and cynical. That's your fault.
Yeah, like I disliked Aladdin as a
Cruz,
kid.
the world made me like this, and I tried to fight it.
I for some reason
I tried my best.
You tried your best, but it wasn't quite there.
You have no excuse because you're talking to someone whose parents put him on a little magic carpet placemat and flew me around the living room. The very same parents that are no longer here, and guess what? I still fucking love Aladdin. To quote Godzilla expert Steve Reifel, author of the unauthorized biography of the Big G, "You're the evil military commander from a mighty alien race. Your people are determined to conquer Earth, but there's a slight problem: Godzilla. You've got the budget, the technology, and the special effects to create the ultimate weapon to accomplish your goal. So what do you build? A futuristic laser beam? A gigantic battle tank? An atomic bomb? No, stupid. This is a Japanese monster movie. You build a robot, a big robot. And what the heck, just to piss off Godzilla a little, make it look just like him." This perfectly describes Jun Fukuda's best and last directorial installment in the Godzilla franchise, full of bombastic special effects, a bonkers extraterrestrial plot, and the return of my personal favorite kaiju composer Masaru Sato, who gives the film a big band soundtrack akin to his work on Yojimbo. Made for the 20th anniversary of Godzilla, it remains as one of the better 70s sequels. So, what did you guys think of The Planet of the Apes?
It was horrible. Oh, God. This was amazing. This film was amazing.
Yeah, I really liked it. Like, I was already very confused in the beginning when, like, this very angry looking Godzilla, just like,
Yeah.
Oh, it was so
oddly,
good.
weirdly angry looking. I'm like, this is weird. What the hell is
The
he so-
reveal, the lead up to the reveal was so good because it just gives you just enough clues that just pile on top of each other little by little. That just builds up. It's like something's wrong.
Yeah.
You know, he has the wrong roar. He starts destroying buildings for no reason. He attacks Anguirus.
He
And
freaking like rips his mouth apart.
that was so badass.
I was like, I cringed a bit. I'm like, the fuck are you doing, you dick?
Blood, and it's just, oh my God. That scene with Anguirus, it
Yeah.
instantly reminded me of Peter Jackson's King Kong. When Kong fights the T-Rex and he kills him by ripping his jaw open and he plays with it a little. But no,
Well, that happens
just
in the original one as well.
oh yeah. The should have showed us that.
What, the
But it's
original
not
King
Godzilla.
Kong?
The entire movie was just so good.
It was fun, just like especially after coming off of the dumpster fire that was Never Say Never
no.
Again.
I know when Cruz announced at the end of the last episode what the next Godzilla movie was going to be, and when you said it was versus MechaGodzilla, internally I was just like, oh, thank God,
Yeah.
because I don't know what I would have done if Never Say Never Again got paired with a bad Godzilla movie.
Yeah, it's been interesting seeing which films get combined with which and how they play off of each other.
Because this
I was
was
happy that this is just
this was
all
a
right, we gotta
much
get
needed
something
palate
to
cleanser.
inject
It
into
was
ourselves.
opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of stuff. I don't think you'd call MechaGodzilla the best in the series.
I mean, it's one of the best in the series.
Right, but
You said it was up in your top 10.
yeah.
Well,
The top 10, I'm sure, like
Top
me, I'm sure
11.
your top 10 is.
mostly because like I actually went through my list again and I like reconfigured my top 10. But yeah, technically this would be like top 11. And in a way, we almost get a better James Bond movie out of this.
Yeah, it definitely had a
Yeah.
it definitely had a bit of a spy espionage feel to it for sure. The villains were nice and just the right level of over the top. I really liked them. We're definitely now at the point where, you know, we've had multiple invading alien forces that we can kind of do some compare and contrast. Like the apes. What was it? What was it? Third Planet of the Black Hole, I think it was.
Good for you, Jay.
Yeah.
You're paying
Yeah,
attention.
like
What the hell does that mean?
they said that, and that was my initial. It was like it's the third planet of the black hole, and I feel like there was like another continuation line after
Well,
that.
see,
of
like
some kind.
they said that, and my visual cortex immediately jumped to the Doctor Who episode, which is how I remembered it. Where the planet orbiting the black hole, and that's just what I visualized. I definitely think they're more interesting than the cockroaches, but not as cool as the Zillions.
Does it make your mouth water, Jake?
Was it the villains were cool?
Yeah, they're definitely an alien species that never
They're-
come back in the series.
No.
Like,
What was that?
At
They
least,
never come back.
like,
Yeah.
like at least they're like. It feels like they're given like
Even in the
more
return of
time.
MechaGodzilla, they don't come back. What?
Like, it feels like they're given more time and it's like more properly spread out for you to like actually kind of appreciate them a little bit more than usual.
God, like now that you mention it, like yeah, because the next movie after this is a direct sequel to this one, and it has aliens, but I don't know if they're the same because they don't look like monkeys in the next film. Now, MechaGodzilla goes through several interesting iterations throughout the series. For me, in terms of design, and I think just concept, this is my favorite version of him.
It was so well realized,
Yeah.
conceptually, design wise. Just I love the fact that he fights the way I expected MechaGodzilla to fight,
Yep.
which is just to stand there and shoot everything at once.
And
He's been described from creators as a nihilistic killer, a consistently cold-hearted and composed professional, because he is a literal mecha whose true feelings are unable to be seen.
It's just a robot.
Yep.
It's a big old robot.
I love how sinister and evil and just cruel he looks, and the
Yeah.
fact that his metallic design is from like a certain time period of sci-fi that just looks janky, but also it can fuck you up.
I definitely thought it as well when I was looking at him, because he looks, classic from like an older school of sci-fi design. Yet at the same time, he still feels kind of modern. There are still certain design elements of MechaGodzilla that are still being used in current sci-fi designs.
Yeah, like he feels like he's kind of like a retro-futuristic with an industrial take on him.
Like
to
he's
make it more
definitely,
menacing.
he is 100% more timeless than someone like Jet Jaguar.
see, the thing is for me, like first time I saw it, and I couldn't unsee it. It just, the part that bugged me is just it looked 70s, and to me, I don't mean that as bad, but I couldn't appreciate what it looked like what it would have looked like back then to people back then, because to me it just looked 70s cheesy.
Yeah,
And
and it fits.
And to me it was just one of those moments of like, I know it's not bad, it doesn't look bad, but my brain won't let me think that it's good in some weird way, and I don't know how to properly word what I'm trying to say.
I mean, like, as far as I'm concerned, you can take this design of MechaGodzilla, place him right next to a 90s era Power Rangers Megazord.
Yeah.
And they would
They wouldn't clash at all.
They wouldn't clash at all.
Yeah, and that's what it was. It looked Power Rangers, and like that's the thing. I liked it, but at the same time, it was just like a slightly out of left field design for me in some weird way, because
I think that's fine because, I mean, from a 70s perspective, you have rainbows coming out of his eyes.
Yeah.
And when he first appears, he has this glowing, sparkly flame to him as well. So
Yeah.
I think that's totally fine.
yeah, and that's the thing. Like I don't believe I'm not calling it a bad design in any way, shape, or form. I'm not saying that it's not a good design. I just don't know how to think that.
Then don't.
Well, then
Go
stop
Josh.
it. Stop it.
Stop it.
So, Cruz, like, do you like compared to his subsequent appearances with the same design? Do you think that this stands up to like the next iteration of the same design?
I think all of his designs after this, they have their own merits, but this one is my favorite because he looks the most evil, he looks the most jank, and he looks like something that would be called MechaGodzilla.
Yeah,
He looks like what weird alien monkeys would probably come up with to try and replicate
Yeah, exactly.
Godzilla.
Yeah.
And, that's why I think my favorite after him is Godzilla vs. Kong's, because even though it looks high tech, it still looks really jank and fucked up.
Yeah, I think I was kind of spoiled by that because that was my first. I did not know MechaGodzilla was going to be in that movie, and so when that appeared and that was my introduction to MechaGodzilla, I just had like the holy shit.
So, Cruz, are you excited for the next film that features this iteration of MechaGodzilla?
I'm excited for the film.
Or, yeah, for the next film that has this version of MechaGodzilla.
Unfortunately, no.
Oh, no.
Oh, dear.
Is that the next one we're watching?
Yeah, that's the next one.
Aw.
And it's pretty much the same design with a slight tiny changes, but yeah.
Monkey.
But apart from MechaGodzilla,
Return to Monk.
what do you guys think about King Caesar?
Gonna be honest,
He's awesome. Shut up. You shut
Sorry,
up.
Cruz.
No, he's
I was
awesome.
not a big
King
fan of
Caesar.
King Caesar. He was cool at first. When he first appeared, I actually thought he was pretty cool. I really liked the ability to absorb and then fire back the laser beam. I thought that was really cool. The problem that really kind of sucker punched me in the face was the fact that they spent the entire movie hyping this guy
that's
up.
true.
They built him up the entire movie, and then we finally get to see him fight, and he's just kind of just this big furry guy that flips around a lot.
I forgot how little he does in this movie. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, it really was not that impressive of a showing.
I feel like the old man does almost as much fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except
When
not
the-
really.
when Godzilla showed up for the final showdown, I kind of almost forgot that Caesar was there.
Yeah.
He's
Like,
got his own theme song.
Yeah. And
but it takes 3 minutes to wake him up, so I
Exactly.
don't know how good that is.
No sense of urgency for whoever came up with the plan to awaken King Caesar. First, you have to have the statue, which is going to be in a different place from where it ultimately needs to be for it to work. Only under these exact circumstances, and the statue only just opens his door, and then you have to sing to him for 5 minutes before he actually wakes up. But don't worry, end of the world, we got it covered.
So yeah, if you're gonna use King Caesar, you do need an early alert system in order to properly utilize him.
that's one of the more.
Okay, guys, I got an idea. Just record an MP3 of it, send it to me. I'll time compress it by half. Send it back to you guys. Play it on the loudspeaker. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
And then King Caesar will awaken to shut that shit the fuck up because it's really annoying him.
And I'll pitch shift it so it sounds like chipmunks as well.
It's like Mothra all over again.
Jesus, Willie,
Yeah.
you just want King Caesar to fucking kill you, don't you?
The
He's
song,
gotta wake up, damn it!
yeah, the song only wakes the monster up just because it annoys the monster to death.
And then he just reflects it into Willie's ears until every orifice bleeds.
That's a good point. I mean, you could have easily switched out Mothra for King Caesar in this movie. I guess.
Narratively, you really could, yeah.
Considering we're all a bunch of Mothra simps, I'm sure we would have loved that.
Oh, we 100% would have loved that.
How soon are we getting to the return of Mothra?
We'll get there.
How soon? Tell us
Eventually.
now!
I just want to know what like how many movies away the next time we see Mothra is.
It'll be 5 movies from now before we get Mothra.
Yeah.
Not as long as I thought it would be.
Wait, 5 movies.
All right.
Is that how long License to Kill is?
Time to break out the Mothra countdown blocks.
I was really hoping we would pair License to Kill with the return of Mothra.
Yeah, the King Caesar song is one of the more reasons why this movie gets remembered. And let me tell you, one of the greatest moments of my life is during G-Fest when we got to see all these Godzilla compositions played by an orchestra. Is them doing the King Caesar song live by this amazing singer. And she did the whole thing, and I was like
That's
in
cool.
tears because this random Japanese song that only I knew from this VHS tape as a kid is now being performed by a professional, and we all gave her a standing ovation when she was done. And it's
I'm sure you felt very vindicated.
I did.
I'm sure you feel vindicated all the time, broadening the horizons of every other Godzilla fan you come in contact with.
Like, I remember the day after I get to meet, like, one of my personal Godzilla heroes at the fest and talk to him for a bit. And he's like, so what's been your favorite part of the convention so far? I'm like, well, it has to be going to the orchestra. He's like, oh, man, I didn't get to make it. Like, what did I miss out on?
Everything.
The King Caesar song live. And he just looked at me like, fuck.
Who was it?
I can't remember his name. His name is Matt from Tokusatsu Vlog, I think. But yeah.
Oh, okay.
Cruz, I think it's safe to say that you've probably never been more proud to make a man cry.
But it was this thing of like, I've just met this guy and he's super cool, and now he's staring at me like, why did I not go?
It's like I hate you that you went. You are now my mortal enemy. You are banned from my website.
Also, like, one of the small things that I can, like, it disappears from your head from your childhood, and then it comes back when you rewatch these movies, is me repeating their passcodes when they're like Alpha, and then the other one's like Centaurus, and I'm like, oh my god, I used to do that. We finally get to see Dr. Serizawa again.
Was it?
Neat.
Yeah, I'm sorry. He was the older man, wasn't he?
And Akihiko Harada played the scientist who was, I guess, had a degree in space titanium.
That is also going down into my list of unintentionally funny but absolutely beautiful lines of this series.
Yeah.
This is just the way he said it, like, this is space titanium, in a way that's like, oh, obviously, how silly of us.
Yeah.
Did you guys like Ghidorah's cameo for some random reason?
Yeah, I caught that, and I remember thinking, oh, is he going to show up in this movie? No? Okay.
And I noticed Ghidorah's energy beam making a cameo.
Yeah.
I think we're almost getting to the point where Ghidorah's breath is actually making more appearances than Ghidorah himself.
Oh, God.
Well, he has 3 heads and only 1 body, so he's gonna get there.
So
quicker.
it kind of evens out.
It's a nightmare to get through with the union because
All of Ghidorah has 1 health plan, but 3 dental plans.
We'll see Ghidorah again before we see Mothra again, I'll tell you that much.
No!
that makes me sad. Who I really liked was the Interpol agent.
Yeah, he was awesome.
He was awesome, especially since like
He wears his sunglasses at night,
oh
day,
night.
dusk.
Low light camera settings.
Yeah.
I looked after the movie. I did do a little bit of like perusing on the internet, just some last minute like notes and things, and I don't think I caught it as clearly as I should have watching it, but apparently like there was supposed to be like an eclipse happening.
Oh, right.
And that's because like the apparently like there was an eclipse going on, and the eclipse is what caused the moon to look red and that mirage to appear to fulfill the prophecy.
What?
Yeah.
So I'm like, as I read that, I'm like, oh, that must be why the lighting in that scene looks so weird. Because we were all talking about like, why is the lighting in this scene so freaking weird? It's broad daylight, but
What's
it's lit
causing
like
the
it's
mirage?
night.
Why is it red?
Like I thought they were just doing the trick so that it would kind of look like it's dusk, even though it's full daylight.
Why did that woman with an awesome fashion sense that I'm jealous of just go, I thought I heard Godzilla just now?
That didn't come up again, did it?
I laughed at that line because that line literally had the same exact energy as in a few hours the sun will rise.
What was in a few hours the sun will rise?
It was Yu-Gi-Oh!
It's from
Bridge.
Yu-Gi-Oh!
In another few
okay.
hours, the sun will rise. What
is
the
that supposed
fuck
to
does
mean?
that mean? I don't know, but it's true. It has the same energy of Smog Monster, where she just goes, what a beautiful house it is.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, another.
What was the context of that again?
There was no
There was
context.
no context. That's why it was
No,
funny.
but-
So, like, they're at this person's house to discuss this very important the plot.
Right,
This pollution is a problem. This is a serious discussion.
What a nice house this is.
Yeah.
Okay, I remember now.
So the explanation for that one, at least, going back, I don't know how many episodes, was it was a mistranslation of them talking about when the Smog Monster sparkled, she's supposed to go, it was very pretty. And it turned into that somehow.
I wouldn't have it any other way. I mean, what I really liked about the Interpol guy is that it honestly had me kind of guessing whose side he was ultimately going to be on.
Yeah.
At first, yeah.
Especially since when they first introduced him, and I was making fun of it in the theater, where like when they first introduced him, he ends every line with a stereotypical villain mwahaha laugh.
Yeah.
He just turns around in the plane and he's like, hey, I'm also researching that. It'd be fun if we somehow ran into each other again.
Yeah. Yeah. Like he has the start of the
This is 70s era Godzilla. I honestly don't know if they're subverting it or leaning into it. Because it could honestly go either way.
One of the best things about this movie is Masaru Sato doing his amazing, just jivey, rock-infused soundtrack. Like, that's the same opening for our podcast as it is in the beginning of the movie, and it just gets me...
Yeah.
It felt very empty
gets
without
me-
the roar.
Yeah.
Yep.
I know.
Now I'm used to that now.
I get pumped every time I hear that. Like, that's how you open a film. You get the Toho logo, and then you get bum, 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 ba-dum, ba-dum. It's so good.
暗い夜の帳が消える朝が来たら眠りから覚めてほしいの私のしさ星の浜辺で待っているのしさ力強く青いコラルを越えて頬の涙を拭いておくれ
We now come to our list of alternate titles. From America, we have Godzilla vs. the Bionic Monster, which was faced with a lawsuit by Universal, who owned the rights to the $6 Million Man and the Bionic Woman, and felt that this title...
Are you fucking kidding me?
I hate copyright law so much.
And felt that this title was an infringement on their trademark.
Fuck you.
The title was then changed to Godzilla vs. the Cosmic Monster. From Spain, Cybergodzilla, Machine of Destruction.
Ooh.
I like it.
I like it.
From Finland, Duel of Giant Monsters.
Yeah.
From Brazil, The Odyssey of the Monsters. From Yugoslavia, a showdown between two monsters.
Well, there's...
I mean, that is just already factually incorrect.
Yep.
From Germany,
Frankenstein?
King Kong against Godzilla.
What?
From Mexico, Mecha King against Godzilla.
Mecha King.
Not bad.
From Italy, Godzilla against the Robot.
Yes.
And my personal
The
favorite,
robot.
my personal favorite from Sweden, Invasion from the Ape Planet.
They're not wrong.
They're not wrong.
I mean, honestly, that title's a spoiler if you want to be absolutely true about it.
Yeah, honestly.
So Jake, would you recommend never having sex again and Godzilla versus the... Would you recommend Sean Connery versus osteoporosis and Godzilla versus MechaGodzilla?
Okay, incredibly inappropriate tangent. Cruz, are you wearing Santa Claus socks?
No, I'm wearing Shaun of the Dead socks. What are you, a nerd?
I would never recommend to never watch this never movie, never, ever, Everland, never again, ever, never.
In English, please.
No. MechaGodzilla hard yes.
Yeah.
Just absolutely banger of a monster movie.
Honestly, the only way I would ever say yes, which I'm not, to recommending Never Say Never Again because it's never.
As if you had a fucking lobotomy.
Or if you and like maybe 3 of your friends were like recording a show where you were talked about 2 different kinds of movies.
Don't you call me that.
What a friend.
Oh, a movie.
But like
three?
like this is the kind of movie that you would want to see so you could like just bash the fuck out of it with your friends. That is the only thing this movie's good for. And a couple of good laughs. MechaGodzilla, go to town. I would recommend this one for a first timer. I think this is like one of the first in a while that I've been able to say I recommend for a first time viewing.
Although we did have to spend like an hour and a half talking about Never Say Never, whatever the fuck it's called. And
I don't think it was an hour and a half, but I think it was like maybe like an hour.
I don't know. It was less time than we spent watching the movie, and you could really
Good.
feel it.
Good.
It's like, yeah, like
if we'd spend more time talking about it, I'd be concerned.
I know I say this fairly often with some of the lesser movies in both of these series, but again, it's decent to riff, but barely that. Just because so little is going on, you really got to stretch to make your own jokes with this one.
It gets to the point where even though you're watching this on your own, you go, I want my money back.
Yeah,
I want my time back.
Yeah, it would be like you'd buy it on Amazon, watch it, and then send it back to them saying that the DVD wouldn't play.
I want my time back, but can I give it to Robin Williams instead so he can kick Disney's ass?
So, Cruz.
Chaz, you still need to
Just hasn't done his thing yet.
Yeah,
That was the
but
joke.
MechaGodzilla was quite nice. Just a nice,
quite nice.
Just
Quite
a
right.
just a fun watch, and for some reason I don't have too much to say about it, but it was an enjoyable movie.
Never Say Never Again. No, it gave me food poisoning.
Never say
The movie was so bad, it literally made Cruz sick to his stomach.
never say never again.
Godzilla versus MechaGodzilla, as much as I love it, I would have to say no, because I feel like
What?
I feel like you'll enjoy it more if you go in knowing other films and understanding who Godzilla is before getting to a mecha version of him.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Especially with the kind of how they drop it being MechaGodzilla on you.
Yeah.
Okay.
That slow reveal really pays off instead of you knowing like you might be thinking like, oh, is this his other son?
Yeah, being a kid and seeing Godzilla and Anguirus be friends in Godzilla versus Gigan, and then seeing him break his jaw open, you're like, but they're friends. What's going on?
Yeah, like a kid, I had that reaction. I think I said that in the theater. I was like, why is he doing that during Gears? They're supposed to be friends.
So
I
much.
think I even said that.
So much blood.
Yep.
Next time on James Bond, 007 dresses like a clown, swings through the jungle like Tarzan, and flies out of a horse's ass. James Bond will return in Octopussy.
And next time on Godzilla, Ishiro Honda returns to direct the final installment in the Showa series, with a not-so-great sequel to this movie. It's time to bid farewell with Terror of MechaGodzilla. Thank you all for listening to Bond vs. Godzilla. We'll see you next time with a martini in one hand and a rubber suit in the other.
Stay tuned and stay watching.